is January 19th, and it's 6 o'clock. I am going to open up the Board of Selectmen's meeting. It is a Zoom meeting only. It is being recorded, and it will be uploaded to Channel 9 as well as YouTube. I would ask that we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And just a slight correction, I guess it's live on YouTube as we speak.
Yes, it is.
We have some scheduled appointments, and the first one is Jeff Cavallo here yet?
So I don't see Jeff, but I know Rachel Conti and Bill Napolitano are on. I don't actually think Jeff was able to make it, but I'm gonna ask Ms. Conti and Mr. Napolitano to introduce this, and I've asked them to unmute as well. Okay, we should be good.
So,
hi everyone, thanks for having. Oh, go ahead.
Hi Rachel, you can explain to us why you're before the board.
Hi, yes. Jeff wasn't available tonight, so I'm going to take over, but we wanted to let everybody know that we have received some alternate funding for our feasibility study. And that comes on behalf of the Taunton River Stewardship Council. And full funding for this project was provided by a grant from the Taunton River Stewardship Council, stewards of the federally designated wild and scenic Taunton River. Shortly after the special town meeting on November 1st, where we were awarded our $40,000 for our feasibility study, Mr. Napolitano reached out to our committee and said, we may have some alternate funding for you. We have this grant available. Why don't you apply? So Jeff filled out the grant proposal and turned it in at the end of November. And on December 19th, we found out we were awarded our $40,000. So thankfully, we are able to return that money we were awarded at the special town meeting back to the town.
Well, that is great news. As you know, as you just mentioned, Rachel, the voters and residents of Dayton approved the $40,000 for the feasibility study for the Trails Committee. And now as a result of that grant, that money is being returned to the town, and we have this great grant. I'm wondering if Bill Napolitano would like to speak on this.
Certainly, thank you very much. I'm here tonight. Many of you know me from SERPED, but I'm actually the administrative assistant to the Taunton River Stewardship Council. It's made up of 18 local, federal, state, regional, and nonprofit organizations. And your committee has been working so diligently to get their segment of the Taunton River Pathway completed that I encourage them to come in for a grant. We run a small grants program for the local communities, the main STEM communities along the Taunton, to do projects just like this. And I would like to inform the town that this wasn't even close. It was a unanimous vote of the council. All of these grants are reviewed by the council and voted upon by the council. And you received the unanimous support of the council. And they've committed me to continue to work with your local committee to see the project done.
Well, that is, Bill, that is great news. And I am pleased that it was unanimous by the Trail Connection. So I really appreciate that. Is there anything else, Rachel, you would like to add? I wish Jeff was here because he's also done a lot of work on this, but he's unable to participate. Anything else you want to add, Rachel?
No, just thanks to the Taunton River Stewardship Council and to Jeff for all his hard work in writing grants and reaching out to people and making connections. And yeah, it's a good work by all.
And Rach, I know it's off subject, but I just want to thank Theo for, he's already made one of the beds already, the raised beds for the community garden. So it really looks nice. So you can tell him that he's doing a great job.
Thank you. I'll let him know.
Yep.
He's just got the top to complete, but he's almost there for the first box.
Yeah, it looks great. I will, just so everybody knows, Selectman Lenny Hull was not able to attend this meeting. He's attending another meeting, and I will address that later on in this meeting. But we do have as members, and because this is Zoom, I'll introduce our Selectman, Dr. Brett Zagrafis, as well as myself, Ken Pacheco, and Town Administrator Mike Mullen is present, as well as Karen Brady, Executive Assistant. So Dr. Z, would you like to make a motion regarding this grant?
Yes, I'll make a motion to accept the $40,000 grant funding for the trail feasibility study.
And I will step down and second that motion. Any discussion?
Yes, I just wanted to say that this is another great example of volunteers, unpaid volunteers who love the town on different committees, feeling empowered to do really big things. So I wanted to thank the Trails Committee and all their members. I wanted to thank, obviously, Bill Napolitano, who yet again has come through for the town of Dayton in his capacity with the Taunton River Stewardship Council. So just thank you to everyone involved. And I'm really pleased and proud to vote to accept this grant. When we're ready, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, if there's no further discussion, I will call for a vote. Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Ken Pacheco is also an aye. So again, congratulations to the Trail Committee, and thank you, Bill, for all you've done and your committee has done also. And we look forward to reading this feasibility study when it's completed.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to work with your committee. As Brett said, they are the hardest working group that I've seen in a while, and we'll see this through with them.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Have a
Thank
wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next agenda item is certificates of recognition. And this is as a result, and I believe Nicole Mello is present. This is as a result of a letter that she sent to the Board of Selectmen, recognizing the hard work that the school nurses do, and the Board of Selectmen decided that they would like to recognize them. So I know that I see Denise Wilkins, and I see Allison Alberto, and I thought I saw
Therese Hudson.
I thought I saw her. Yeah, Therese Hudson. Yes, okay, I see her. I'm not sure.
And Denise. And Dr. Aza, Ms. Donahue on the Zoom as well. And we've asked them to unmute as well, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. So I'm going to read the certificate of recognitions. This is, we, the undersigned, do hereby recognize Allison Alberto, who has a master's in science of science in nursing, as well as a registered nurse, board certified. We have Dawn Daly, who has a master's in science nursing and a registered nurse. And we also have Therese Hudson, who has a bachelor of science in nursing, a registered nurse, as well as a nationally certified school nurse. Kathy Monder, who is a bachelor's in science nurse, who is an RN, registered nurse, as well as a nationally certified nurse. And Denise Wilkins, my friend, a bachelor's in science nursing and a registered nurse, also nationally certified as a school nurse. So to whom we extend our sincere appreciation for the contribution you make every day as a school nurse to improve the safety, health, and academic success. I think I forgot Allison Bolaro, who is a bachelor's of science nurse as well as a registered nurse. To whom we extend our sincere appreciation for the contribution you make every day as a school nurse to improve the safety, health, and academic success of our school community, with special regards to the guidance given to local students and families throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and caused the great seal of the town of Dayton to be affixed on the 12th day of January 2021, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Dayton, signed by Kenneth Pacheco, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Leonard Hull, who is the Clerk of the Board of Selectmen, and Dr. Brett Zagrafis, was PhD member of the Board of Selectmen. So I just want to say to all the nurses, school nurses, that we appreciate all the work you have done. You do every day during these trying times. It is times like this that we see the true character of people, and you are a great example of such for our students and their families, and the teachers and the administration. So I want to thank you very much for everything you've done. Again, I would like to note that Nicole Mello was the one that was responsible for this. She noted all the hard work that you guys do every day for the students and faculty and families. I don't know if Dr. Azar would like to, before that, I want to let Dr. Sografis speak for us, if he wants to say anything.
I just wanted to echo what you said, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I think you were spot on. And I also just wanted to say that I was really grateful, not just to our school district nurses, but also to the partnership that they have with our town nurse, Mrs. Mello. So I just wanted to thank everyone for everything they're doing. I know you all have your hands full right now, and you have for the last year or two. So thank you for all that you do. And we just wanted to let you know that it was greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Kristen Donahue, do you want to say anything?
Sure. I hope I express my gratitude to them on a regular basis, but do want to echo, I think the partnership has certainly facilitated allowing us to help keep kids in school where we know they need to be, as well as supporting the communities and the families. So definitely very proud of our nurses.
Thank you, Ms. Donahue. And Dr. Azar, would you like to say
yes, hi, Kenny, Mike, and Brett. First and foremost, thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the school district in regard to our school nurses, our frontline workers. What more can you say? What is remarkable, though, about our school nurses, I will tell you this, and they probably, I can't wait to hear this because I don't think I've ever mentioned it to them in 8 years. They all have a remarkable sense of humor. When the opportunities to walk through their classrooms, their nursing stations, that no matter, what is in front of them, they're always smiling. They have a smile on their face. Some of them is probably saying, well, you didn't see us this week, Dr. Azar, but nevertheless, that to me is just remarkable, regardless of, what's in front of them, what obstacles. It's really gratifying to know that the care and just what they do for all of us is really touching, and just what you folks are doing for them this evening is really nice. It's just a nice thing to do, to recognize these individuals. So with that in mind, thank you. And Kenny, if you don't mind, if I could just share very, very quickly with the folks in Dayton that the other day someone asked me, anytime people are ready to retire, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Basically, my reaction to folks is that many people don't know this, but my family, we take full advantage of what you just spoke about in Dayton. The trails, we're on the trails quite often. We have a small boat, so we see Dayton from the Taunton River. And my son loves to fish, and I just hope to, stay and maintain my health in retirement and board my little small vessel. It's a 13-foot whaler, so it's perfect for right around the Dayton area. Except for the fact that I didn't realize you guys had a yacht, not a yacht, like a boat place. And there's some very large boats that create very large wakes. But nevertheless, that's for another time. But just on behalf of the school district, thanking the Dayton folks, the Board of Select folks, the nurse, Ms. Mello, for recognizing what the nurses do day in and day out before COVID, and just magnified by COVID-19. So thank you, Kenny, Brett, and Mike, for that opportunity to speak this evening. And Karen, always a pleasure to see you as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Azar. And I think in the future, we'll have another opportunity to speak to you before you retire. But obviously, it's something I'm sure you're looking forward to, as I was looking forward to when I retired. And we wish you the best of luck and health, and spend time with your family. And I'm sure we'll speak again. So thank you for your comments, Dr. Azar, for the Dayton Rehoboth school nurses. So we appreciate all that they're doing. Thank you very much. The next agenda item is we received a letter, the Board of Selectmen and Friends of the Briggs Community Garden. I believe Dave Derrick is present.
Yes.
Please accept this donation towards the continued efforts to develop the Briggs Community Garden at 949 Somerset Avenue. I would love to be contacted if there is any volunteer days in the coming year and be able to participate in your efforts. David Derrick, P.S. I thought that I sent along this old Christmas card that my parents sent out many years ago. So Mr. Derrick, there'll be plenty of work for you to do as far as volunteer work. We'll be letting you know. In fact, I think we're going to have, within the next month or so, we're going to have a delivery of manure. So if you're willing to help us come and spread that, we truly appreciate it. But there is a committee that is working on the James Briggs garden. And so far they've made, I believe, 10 raised beds. And we have a Eagle Scout who's making 2 raised beds that's going to be higher. It's for those that are in wheelchairs and have difficulty working on the regular raised beds. We have Commission on Disability got a grant along with the help of Dr. Z that's going to give us some mats to put around these raised, the higher 24-inch, actually I think it's 30-inch raised beds to make it easier for those in the wheelchair that want to volunteer and come to the community garden. And then we also have a shed that's being built by Bristol Plymouth students. And I want to say it's 10 by 16 or 12 by 16, but it really is a good size, as well as there's going to be a ramp for those in wheelchairs that need to access the shed. So it really is coming along. This is community garden. It's going to be used for raising vegetables for the food bank that we have in Dayton that the Lions Club sponsors, as well as the people who live at Lincoln Village, our senior, where seniors and people with disability live in Dayton. So it really is a great opportunity for people in town to help those that are in need. I do want you to know, Mr. Derrick, that I was opposed to that building, the house being knocked down. I felt it was an historic building and we should have preserved it. However, the residents, the taxpayers did not agree with that. And as a result of that, as you know, it was torn down. But we did decide to name the garden, the James Briggs Garden, as the James Briggs, the first owner of that house. So I hope you're at least pleased with that. So Mr. Derrick, would you like to say anything?
Well, sure. It's great to hear the progress that's happening. And those were a few tough agenda items to follow here. But yeah, I'm very pleased to hear about the progress. Pleased to, do our small part to help out. I would be happy to come and help, schedule dependent. Whether it's the manure deliveries, as you know, in the spring, at least when we lived there at 949, if the wind was blowing the right way, we would know what was happening down at the Aggie school. So it'd be an unusual circumstance.
Yeah.
But very pleased to hear about the progress. I don't know if you were able to actually get a look at the Christmas card itself that my parents had and that I included, but I just happened to come across that, and it's just a little pencil sketch, I think, of the house. I'd also I was hoping to say hello to unfortunately he's not there tonight, but my former high school classmate, Selectman Hull. Please say hello for me. And I won't disclose what our class year was. But thanks again.
Yes, I did have an opportunity to see the card, and we did post some of the card that we just showed on the Zoom meeting. This is a $250 donation that you've made, and we appreciate it very much. And I'm sure the people who are running the garden will use it wisely. I know they need to buy tools, and they've got other stuff. I believe they're going to get donations regarding plants for the community garden, but I really I'm a gardener myself, so I'm really looking forward to this this coming about. I will entertain a motion to accept this donation.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept Mr. David Derrick's donation for the James Briggs Garden in the amount of $250. With thanks and appreciation.
I'll step down and second that motion. Any discussion? If not,
I
I'll call for a vote. Yep.
Mhm.
Dr.
I just
Z?
wanted to thank you, Mr. Derrick. I know that you have a relationship to the history of the property and the former house that was on the property. So I want to thank you. This is not the first time that you've donated. It helps offset the costs that the Agricultural Commission has to get the garden going and then maintain it. So it's greatly appreciated. And I'm just very thankful for all that you're doing.
Great, thanks so much.
Dr. Z, how do you vote?
Aye.
Campuchico is also an aye. And Mr. Derrick, I just want you to know that in the 90s, my wife, you can't see her, but she's the president of the Dayton Historical Society. And we went and visited the house in the 90s when your parents had it all decorated for the holidays, and they invited the Dayton Historical Society to it. And it was also in early American life, as I'm sure you know. I'm sure we have a copy around here somewhere, but they had some very nice pictures, but it was nicely restored by your parents. So that house is really appreciated by those of us who like and live in historic houses.
Right.
So,
well, they enjoyed the work that they did there.
Yeah.
And just a quick aside, after I sign off, I'm going to go upstairs and help my mom celebrate her 89th birthday today.
oh,
Wow.
good for
Happy
her.
birthday.
Wish her a happy birthday from us.
I will do that.
Yes.
And
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Derrick.
Take care, all.
The next agenda item is certificate of recognition for Lieutenant Thomas Medeiros and Lieutenant Joseph White. Dr. Z, would you like to read those, please?
Yes.
I see Mr. Medeiros is online here. I don't know if Joe White is. I don't see Joe.
So, and the fire chief is also with us as well.
Yes, he was hiding. Now I see him.
Do you want me to read both? I'll read both.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Certificate of recognition. Whereas Lieutenant Thomas Medeiros began his tenure with the town of Dayton on January 1st, 1993 as a call firefighter, having then been appointed to full-time status on March 30th, 1997, and was most recently promoted to the rank of lieutenant on May 5th, 2019. And whereas Lieutenant Thomas Medeiros, in addition to many other duties, served as the department's mechanic and scheduler. And whereas Lieutenant Thomas Medeiros established the junior firefighter program and still oversees the program to this day. And whereas Lieutenant Thomas Medeiros proudly served as Local 4332 Union President for many years. And whereas Lieutenant Thomas Medeiros traveled to New York City after the 9/11 attacks as a member of the Bristol Norfolk Critical Incident Stress Management Team to help fellow firefighters, police officers, and EMS personnel deal with emotional trauma after the devastation. And whereas Lieutenant Thomas Medeiros has served the town with great excellence as a firefighter, continually demonstrating exemplary service to the town of Dayton and its residents with great pride and distinction. And now, we, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Dayton, do hereby recognize and thank Lieutenant Thomas Medeiros for his outstanding service to the town of Dayton and the town Dayton Fire Department, and commend him for his many years of dedication and commitment. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the great seal of the town of Dayton to be affixed on this 12th day of January, 2022. The Board of Selectmen of the town of Dayton, Ken Pacheco, Chair, Leonard E. Hull, Jr., Clerk, and Brett Zagrafos, Member. And thank you. It's nice to see you, Tom. I'm going to read the other one, and then I know the chairman will allow remarks. Certificate of recognition. Whereas Lieutenant Joseph White began his tenure with the town of Dayton on March 28, 1983 as a call firefighter, having then been appointed to full-time status on March 28, 1998, and was most recently promoted to the rank of lieutenant on May 5th, 2019. And whereas Lieutenant Joseph White served as the senior safe officer, and whereas Lieutenant Joseph White served as Local 4332 Union Vice President for many years. And whereas Lieutenant Joseph White traveled to New York City shortly after the 9/11 attacks as a member of the Bristol, Norfolk Critical Incident Stress Management Team to help fellow firefighters, police officers, and EMS personnel deal with emotional trauma after the devastation. And whereas Lieutenant Joseph White has served the town with great excellence as a firefighter, continually demonstrating exemplary service to the town of Dayton and its residents with great pride and distinction. And now we, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Dayton, do hereby recognize and thank Lieutenant Joseph White for his outstanding service to the Dayton Fire Department, and we commend him for his many years of dedication and commitment. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the great seal of the town of Dayton to be affixed on this 12th day of January, 2022. The Board of Selectmen of the town of Dayton, Kenneth Pacheco, Chair, Leonard E. Hull Jr., Clerk, and Brett Zagrafos, Member.
Thank you, Dr. Z. Before we make comments, I'm going to ask for a vote to accept these certificates of recognition. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll step down and second that motion. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico was an aye. I first want to commend Lieutenant Tom Medeiros as well as Lieutenant Joseph White for all the years you've dedicated to the town of Dayton. I specifically to Lieutenant Medeiros, I've looked forward to the September 11th events that you've scheduled and you've been very active on in the last few years. I'm hoping that I'm not sure you will, but I'm hoping that you will continue to participate in that in some way. But that is something it's an honor for all those that lost their lives on that day, and also to the families that have been impacted by that. So it's a good recognition that you have provided to this town. So I hope you look forward to your retirement. It may not be as early as you planned, but we appreciate everything you've done for this town, and I'm sure I'm going to see you around in different occasions. We're still going to have the Couch Festival, so you can still come to that. So I want to thank you again, Lieutenant Medeiros and Lieutenant Joseph White, for all the hard work that you've done for this town.
Thank you, Chairman Pacheco. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Z, you want to make any comments? And then I'm going to go to Chief McGee.
I just simply, I'll follow, I say this all the time, I'll follow the FDR motto of be brief, be sincere, and be seated. So I just wanted to thank them both so much for so many decades combined, an individual of public service. It's not an easy job. I'm sure many days you didn't know what was around the corner, if you'd be able to make it home. So I just really appreciate it. The community appreciates it. I think we can all agree on this one thing, that they have done a tremendous amount of good for our residents. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
I hope you both stay involved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Z.
you.
Chief McGee, do you want to make any comments?
Yeah, I just, I'll start off by saying with Tom, I'm not going to allow him to go anywhere. So Tom's going to stick around in some different roles for me. He's an invaluable asset, as is Joe. But Tom spends a lot of time with our junior firefighter program, which has developed, a current full-time hire and many call firefighters over the years, and that is irreplaceable for me as a chief. So, along with the things that Tom does behind the scenes of, not only the 9/11 program that we do on September 11th, but touch a truck events and all these other things that go on, usually in some way, shape, or form, Tom's in the background pushing me or assisting me in some way to make sure that we're on top of these things and getting them done. So whether he likes it or not, he's not leaving me. So he'll be around. Joe's going to be missed. We're taking a big hit here with a lot of years of service. These are two of my most senior guys that are going out the door. So that's a pretty big hit at one time. Obviously, if anybody knows Tom, this isn't a planned exit for him, but we're dealing with that, and we're going to move forward. The department's in a good place. We have some young guys that are in a good place because of the two guys that are walking out the door. So it's great. I hope they both enjoy their retirement, and I wish them both well. And they're always welcome around the fire department, no matter what's going on. The doors are always open, and that's it.
Chief, thank you very much. As I've told many residents in town that have reached out to me, it was a privilege to be trusted to take care of them over the years, to protect them. As I told Selectman Zagrafis, Dayton Fire Department runs through my veins, and as long as I can physically be there, I'm going to be there for the Dayton Fire Department. I'm going to be there for the residents of Dayton. I plan on staying as a call firefighter and helping out in any aspect that I can. I really do appreciate this recognition. It is a hard step for me to take. It is a hard transition considering what I'm going through. But I'm going to make the best of it. And I know that I have the townspeople of Dayton and the fire department. It's got my back. And it's very rewarding for me to know that the current new hire came from the junior firefighters, who I've sat in his living room, convincing him to join the Dayton Junior Firefighters, and now he's a full-time firefighter. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate this recognition.
Thank you.
Well, Tom, we wish you the best of luck in the future, and it's nice to hear that you're going to be around. So we look forward to that. So again, thank you, and thank Joe for all the work they've done for the town. So again, thank you. The next agenda item is a joint meeting with the Dayton Water District Commissioners to discuss the fiscal year 2022 tax rates and capital plan. I believe we have Jeff Clunan on, as well as Jason Quinn. And is there anybody else from the Water Commissioners?
Yes.
Derek Latch.
Yep. Derek's here as well.
Derek Ashton? Is that?
Latch.
Oh, Derek Lack.
Okay, you're on the iPhone? Okay.
Yeah. Yep, that's me.
Okay, so the way we're going to handle this, you're going to let us know why the rates have been been raised, as well as what the capital plan is for the Dayton Water District. You can make all the comments you want. Then I'm going to ask the Board of Selectmen if they have any questions or any comments that they have. I'm going to then read a letter from Bob Perry, although he's on. I think his audio is not that great, so I'm going to read the letter that he sent in, and then I will allow public input if anybody in the public would like to ask you any questions regarding this. So, Jeff, do you want to start off?
Sure. So we had a printout at our annual meeting a few months back.
Get that, Jeff.
You probably have, right?
Yep.
Do you have the one with the shaded? Yes, this one. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start on this. So from essentially, if you look from 2009 all the way to 2021, there really wasn't much of an increase. As far as the rates go, they stayed pretty flat from 2009 to 2021. The reason for that, the reason from what I remember, is the town has grown exponentially quite a bit since then. What happens, we receive capital improvement fees. So that capital has been used as a tool to keep the tax rates down, the rates lower. It's not maybe the best way to move it, but these rates haven't moved pretty much very minimally in well over 10 years. Without the capital improvement fees to obviously have an influx, and it affects the tax rate, because what was happening was it was being used to lower the tax. And then no capital improvement projects were really being done with that money, which is what it was generated for. So now we're kind of playing catch up. So the town's grown. Maybe we've added approximately 500 or 600 homes since this time. The district, it's we're old. We're starting to feel the pains of the age of the district. But the whole method of artificially keeping the tax rate lower while not using these funds to prepare for the future may not have been the best idea. And we're feeling this pain now, and so are all the residents. We're now playing catch up. So the projects that we have to do. Well, I have a sheet on that. I think it's the third slide, Mike. Yeah, it's a tough one for everyone to see. All right, so I'll explain. So since I've been here I got here in 2019. We took a look at the filters. We have 3 filters. We found, in talking with the company that built them, these filters should be rehabbed approximately every 10 to 15 years. They went 16 years, and we took a look at them, and it's a good thing we did because they were in rough shape. So we've been doing filter rehabs every year. We're going on our last filter rehab. I mean, these costs are pretty good, $110,000, $120,000 every time you do a filter. Obviously, everyone knows about the moratorium. We're not able to build and get that capital in to use for projects like the filters, and so that's hurting. We've been doing some groundwater exploration over the last few years. We did find some water in town. We're hoping to act on that. The 2 biggest projects that we have coming up are the Main Street water main replacement, and we are intending to purchase the Brook Street well from Somerset. These 2 projects are going to cost roughly, say, $10 to $12 million. And so, like I said, we're playing catch up. These projects are hitting hard, and they're coming not at an opportune time where obviously the inflation's high and times are tough. But those 2 projects alone at $12 million, they're going to have to go out to bond, and you're looking at I don't know, $600,000-$700,000 a year, $500,000 a year, something like that. I have it up here somewhere. Just in every year coming up with that, let alone we're still paying for the treatment plant. So we only have 2,000 or so service connections or billable customers. So we need to do a rate study. We did the rate study, and this is what Woodard and Curran and we came up with. Yes, everyone's bill went up. Unfortunately, it should have been going up marginally over the years. Should have been going up about every 3 years. You should perform a rate study to keep that rate low. All it's doing now is inflating the tax. So if we keep the rate low, the tax will go up. If the rate goes up, hopefully the tax will end up coming down. So it's a balance we have to play. And this is the first year with the rate study, with the new rates. We'll see, obviously next year will be something different. We're hoping things will get better. With this new structure, we're anticipating the tax to go down eventually, hopefully sooner than later, but it's, like I said, playing catch up. Have any questions?
Let me, if I can just add real quick.
Jason Quinn?
Oh, sorry, Ken. I'd just like to add real quick that we could, in theory, get grant money. I know Jeff and Mike are working hand in hand. You know, this is a worst case scenario, obviously. And look, I don't want to raise my rates. I'm paying more out of pocket, but it's like Jeff was saying, this has been through years of keeping a flat rate and a low tax rate and not doing any capital improvements over the years. And as we all know, as time goes on, things don't get better. The infrastructure doesn't get better. We're losing water. Our wells are going bad. 2 summers ago, we had to implement a water ban for the most part. We're trying to make things better, and this is just a culmination of throughout the years, the last 10, 12 years of keeping the rates low, which is a good thing in theory. It makes everyone happy, but we don't have the money for the capital expenditures. And like Jeff said, we're playing catch up now, and it's not fun. We're myself and Derek and Eric and Jeff. It's a decision we all felt we had to make to keep the Dayton Water District up with the times and improving their infrastructure. So I will say that we also encourage folks to attend our meetings, our annual meetings, our monthly meetings, to be up to speed with everything. We're an open book. We'll give you guys tours of the plant. It doesn't matter. We want the town residents to know what's going on. And we would love to see folks at these meetings. It keeps everybody involved. So that's all I have to say. I don't know if Derek, if you have to say anything before folks start asking questions, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that we didn't make this up. You know, we had a master plan done 2 or 3 years ago, and environmental partners had an outlook of like $20 million to be spent in the next 15 years. We don't have any of it. You know, the town was told but to Tom Ferry about Main Street for the last 10 years that we were saving money for Main Street. That wasn't happening. There's a lot of stuff that kind of just fell through the cracks, and we're just trying to catch up now. Like everybody's saying, it's a catch-up game that we're trying to balance. Woodard and Curran, we just didn't make these rates up. Woodard and Curran has been working with us for the last year and a half on this rates and the taxes and how do we, we can't borrow any money. It's like buying a house. We can't borrow any money if we don't have any money in the bank. You can't. And we don't have money to be borrowing millions and millions of dollars. Everybody drives on Main Street. Everybody knows Main Street. There's over 100 breaks on Main Street that have been repaired. They've been putting Band-Aids on Main Street for the last 10, 15 years. I mean, we're going to spend all that money. The town's going to spend money on repaving it and sidewalks from one end to the other. And we're going to be tearing it up the next week, putting more Band-Aids on it. It just can't happen anymore. But like I said, Jason said the same thing. We don't have anybody that shows up at our meetings. It's just the 3 of us and Tina and a camera. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Derek. So I was going to ask about grants, but it looks like, Jeff, you're going to look for any grants that are available. Obviously, we're not going to get a grant for $12 million to pay for this. Do you know if the infrastructure bill that Congress passed will be able to assist in this at all?
Just from some of the scuttlebutt that I'm hearing, hoping that, so Main Street was listed as an SRF project, so that low interest loan through the state. We were very fortunate to get that. Most water main projects do not get SRF funded. It was a gift. Again, low interest rate, but then I am hearing, can't promise anything, but I'm hearing that they possibly will be working through the SRF to give some forgiveness, but I can't, just hearing things.
So Jeff, just one more thing. What we actually did with Woodard and Curran, they're applying for every grant imaginable out there. If they want to give the money away, we're going to take it. But the column that we set up with Woodard and Curran is all zeros. And hopefully at the end of the fiscal 2022, if we have money, grant money that came in, those zeros will turn into obviously the dollar amounts. But as of now, everybody's promising money.
Right.
We just can't say, okay, we're getting $1 million from here or 2 million from here, or it's just, we can't do it.
Nothing's come to fruition yet. So obviously, yes, that's correct.
So my second and probably last question is, it's almost like every other morning I go on Facebook and I see that there's a water break. We've had just recently, we had a couple on William Street. How old is our system? How old is our water system? Because I don't remember it being replaced. Obviously, new developments has new piping, but
yes,
Main Street, for example, William Street, Milk Street, it's going to be old.
So when it was in the works before I became superintendent, but from what I remember, the first actual water main replacement that was done, we did in 2000 over on Center Street with the Bristol Aggie. So that small stretch was replaced. Much of that was asbestos pipe, and we really wanted to get rid of that and shore up. It was basically wholesaled water with master meter. So in order for us to have all those buildings metered, we needed to get rid of that. And then we talked them into getting rid of the asbestos pipe because they owned all of the main after the master meter. So that project, there was quite a bit of value. I think we spent $80,000 to have that pipe, the asbestos pipe, it wasn't removed. It's still there, but not in use. And they had a company do it on their side. So that saved, I don't know, probably $1 million.
So Jeff, to answer Mr. Pacheco's question, how old are the pipes in Center Street, Williams, Maine? How old is that system?
So most of the system, the original system is from 1950, 1960. The 1950 water main is some of the worst cast iron main ever built. It's that post-war kind of Korean War iron pipe. It's just everywhere you work, that is the worst.
Yeah, that's what's failing is the 1950s pipe. Yeah. Main Street, William Street, Center Street, and Gray Terrace. In that whole area.
There's quite a bit of it. There's quite a bit of it. Our system's about 50-50 cast iron and plastic, and now we only allow ductile iron pipe, which is the best out there. So this Main Street water main replacement will be the largest scale replacement this town's ever had, besides the new development. The wells are really old. Walker Street is from the late 70s. So you're looking at over 40 years of pumping from 2 wells over there that we're keeping going. We keep up with it. I've developed a maintenance program to really keep up with it. You can't just let them go and hope they keep producing. You have to maintain them. Cedar Streets, we're replacing Cedar 1. That was from 1960, and then Cedar, the one behind it was maybe 10 years after. We're actually replacing one of our wells. So that was 50, 60 years old. Cedar 2 was replaced in the 90s, I think, and Cedar 3 is from 1982. So our system's, it's old.
Thank you. Dr. Z, do you have any questions?
I do. I have some comments and a couple questions. I wanted to start with a comment, and it's just my personal opinion. A lot of residents always ask me, like, why are we using free cash to do improvements or to do maintenance on infrastructure or buildings? And I just wanted to make the observation that the problems that the water district has had that have built up as they're discussing over the years, that's why we do that, so that we don't have those problems. We don't want buildings that are falling apart when we have free cash. Yes, we do try to use that money to lower the tax rate whenever we can. And we certainly have done that many, many years since I've been elected. But at the end of the day, it's cheaper to maintain something than to let it fall apart and then have to rebuild it. So I just wanted to make that observation. My question for the Water District Commissioners or for Mr. Clunan, Superintendent Clunan, is how much additional revenue, and I apologize if this was answered before, but I know Mr. Perry had also asked it in his letter that will be read in public input. It's a question that I have. How much additional revenue will be raised or is projected to be raised each year as a result of the increase?
Second.
Take your time, no rush.
Oh boy, I have it here somewhere. Okay. So currently, our treatment plant, we're still paying on it. It's we had a 20-year note. It will be, this place will be up in 2026. We pay roughly $460,000 a year on the treatment plant. So our operating budget's, I think it's 2.1 million. So that's, we have to raise and appropriate that every year.
So with the rate that we have right now, we're actually putting in 250,000 into our stabilization fund. Stabilization.
Mm-hmm.
If,
that could be, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that could be used theoretically at some point for capital needs to address some of these things. Not entirely, obviously.
Yes, absolutely. And again, I want to.
Right, and it all depends on how much money we bring in with the new rates also. But with the tax rate going up, like, we're trying to put in 250,000 a year into the stabilization.
Okay.
So Dr. Z, to answer your question, if all the cost expectations are correct on Main Street and the other stuff, we're looking at debt services of kind of around 1.1, 1.2 million, which is significant for a base of 2,000 service connections, and it's quite significant. We're hoping to finance some of that, obviously, with through no, I wouldn't call it free cash, but like Derek said, capital reserves, instead of having to raise and appropriate it all, because that's where we are today. We're right there today. So going forward, we don't want to be there. And if we get the well and all goes well, town starts building more. Instead of artificially bringing the tax rate down, we want to use that. I would prefer to use that for capital and to pay these bills. Instead of just saying, here's 500,000 to lower the rate. Oh, next year I need it back. I'm sorry. It's not the right thing to do. You can bring the rate down by using the money, but just not giving it, just saying no more. It was the wrong thing to do, and we're feeling that pain now.
Understood. I have no doubt that I know you use a consultant. The town also has used Woodard & Curran in various capacities over the years. I have no doubt that they also are exploring grants because that's what they've done for us on other projects. But I just wanted to reiterate that anyone on the board, I know Town Administrator Mullen works closely with you on different things because our needs sometimes intersect or innovate. So we're happy to help with any grant opportunities. Again, I always, and we should always, at least from the town side, respect the autonomy of the water district. But I also understand, again, that some of the issues that the water district is feeling right now can also affect the town, and also vice versa, issues that the town has may affect the water district in a way. So again, I'm just extending my hand in partnership so that we can help solve these problems that affect both the water district, but also the town of Dayton. So I think that it will take both of our efforts, to be honest, to solve problems of these magnitude that have been, again, building up over the years. I also wanted to let you know that as one selectman, I will definitely be supporting some of the American Rescue Plan Act funds, the ARPA funds, to be used to help address some of the water infrastructure needs. Again, that needs to be hashed out. I'm sure that's something you all are working on. I'm sure Town Administrator Mullen is involved in that as well, but I am aware of how important that is and how important it was that we did get ARPA funds. So proudly be supporting that. I also think that one thing that we need to do wherever we can is to keep our state delegation engaged to ensure that wherever they can help us use state funds to help offset some of the cost of these necessary capital improvements, that they will. And those were my comments.
Thanks, Dr. Z.
Thank you, Dr. Z. I'm going to ask for public input now, but first I'm going to read the letter that former Selectman Bob Perry has sent to the Board of Selectmen to be read tonight. Dear Board members, the Dayton Water District is about to enact a massive increase in the cost of water as per the updated water rates enclosure in the most recent water bill. I will use my own water bill to illustrate. On my 2021 tax bill, the water district tax rate was $1.69 per thousand valuation. On my 2022 tax bill, the rate is $2.50 per thousand valuation. This is an additional 81 cents per 1,000, or a 47.9% increase in the tax rate. In 2021, my 6-month bill was $70 for customer service and included 18,000 gallons of water. Using a 2022 rate structure, I will pay $85 for customer service and $104.94 for 18,000 gallons of water. 18,000 times $5.83 times 1,000, for a total of $189.94 for a 6-month period. This represents a 271% increase in my water bill. Here are my questions. Why are these massive increases required? 2, how much additional revenue do the water commissioners anticipate collecting? I think you may have answered that question. 3, what will these new revenues fund? And 4, do the water commissioners have a strategic plan for maintenance, repair, upgrade, and expansion of the system? Please elaborate. Thank you in advance for your detailed responses. So the first question was, why are these massive increases required? I think you explained some of that, but if you can add anything to it, I'd appreciate it.
Well, first, go ahead. I just want to say one thing, Derek. First, this is a really well-written, and it's right on the money. There's nothing not factual in here as far as what's going on. So, Mr. Perry, this is absolutely correct. And I appreciate the letter. It's really good. As far as the massive increases, these, as I'll reiterate it, from 2009 to now, we have not seen any significant increase. 2009, you had a $60 minimum. In 2020, we have a $70 minimum. With we went up 25 cents on each line, on each tier. So we haven't gone up in 12 years. That's irresponsible. It's keeping that low and influxing that money from past projects. And again, this is why we're here today. And it's hitting people hard. So I just wanted to say that. Very well written. Go ahead, Derek. But to answer that one massive increase, it's because it should have been going on, every 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think we understand about the increase. I mean, we understand that it just didn't go up, and this is just, we had to do it. We already talked about the additional revenue we're going to be collecting. It's $250,000 in the stabilization, and to see how the rates come in. We already talked about the new revenues. Well, what it's going to be funding is basically Main Street and the new well. We're still rehabbing the treatment plant. And as far as the strategic plan, we had the master plan done. It's about that thick. It's at the water department. Every resident can read it. And it was the 20-year plan for the district on what we should be doing, what we should be planning for. the water tanks in town are in the wrong spot. I mean, there are a lot of stuff that obviously we can't even come up with the $20 million to do everything that's on it, but we have to have a game plan, and we do. So, and then anybody wants to look at the Woodard and Curran, any of the facts that we have, more than willing to come up to the treatment plant.
So we're almost done with the new website. This stuff will be put on the website when it's finished. It should be done very soon. It took about a year, unfortunately, but wishing all this stuff came sooner. It didn't.
Yeah, we literally had a list of 20 critical items on that list, I believe, the Woodard and Curran list, and we really had to pare it down to the top 3 or 4. So it was a difficult decision, and we still have a lot more work to do to take care of all these issues.
Thank you. Mr. Perry, if you're able to, if we can hear you, did that answer all your questions?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the commissioner's time and Selectmen's time. Here's though they've got quite a bit of work to do, and now I understand, based upon the fact that essentially nothing was done from 2009 to this point in time. As much as I don't want to have to pay the money, I understand why we need to do that. And so I appreciate again the time and the input from the commissioners and the Board of Selectmen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Can I make one more comment, Ken?
Sure.
When we had, sorry, Derek, 2 years ago when we had the drought, we actually tried buying water from Somerset, and we don't even make enough money. They were selling water for more than we charge. So I'd just like to make that statement that, you know, our rates were so low that we couldn't even purchase the water from Somerset. There's other water issues with that, but as far as the cost per thousand,
and again, to reiterate on that, we have 2 emergency connections, one with Taunton and one with Somerset. We can use them in an emergency. The DEP would allow if need be, and we have in the past. We did do a compatibility study with Taunton's water to ours and Somerset's water and ours. And they, due to different chemical, how the makeup is, they're not compatible. So in a constant basis, the DEP would not allow us to use those unless we made some wholesale changes at our plant. So just buying water isn't really conceivable. In an emergency, yes, but it's not conceivable on a long-term basis. Yeah. So that's why we were looking into the well, and that's been going on for several years now, and it's actually starting to come to fruition. That water would be compatible. It's groundwater, well water, same stuff we put out there, good quality. So we hope by getting that well, it will alleviate the treatment plant's constraints and keep us going for many years until this place and the certain bills are done being paid off. Then we can take a look at the treatment plant.
Dr. Z.
Sorry, just very quickly. Thank you. Sorry. Very quickly, I just wanted to say one thing that I think that residents would find really encouraging is that there is a master plan. I doubt that most people know that. And the only reason I say that is because until I had to sit in the town administrator's office when Mallory left, I actually didn't know that there was a master plan, and there happened to be a copy in the office. So I did take a look at it and read a lot of it. But when that website launches, and I'm sure you probably already have this as like something on your radar, but if that master plan of yours could be like front and center for residents to see, because I think that's lays out the plan and and I think people are intelligent enough in the town to put two and two together and to start to say, okay, well, the water rates went up. They have this master plan, so they must be using that money or those monies, the new monies I'm talking about, to address some of those infrastructure challenges that need to be essentially addressed that have been building up over the years. So I just think it would go a long way towards building confidence, knowing that there is a foundational plan that you're building upon.
They will absolutely be put on the website. And I think there is some, especially for long-term residents, I think there is some, I don't know, some maybe old axes to grind. We are not going to hoard any, we can't hoard any money. And it's not even an option. This money is scheduled. It's, as it comes in, it's going to go up. So it's not, no one's getting rich off of this, and we're not looking to be some form of a bank. The master plan is a great tool, as well as Woodard and Curran's rate study. So we'll put that stuff up there, but this has been a few years coming. The website's been a little over a year, unfortunately.
COVID has really put a damper on all.
Yeah. I mean, not to mention everybody, I'm sure in the district knows our water meters aren't, we lost our ability to read them. So there, it just absolutely put a damper in having to go up on the rate. So we couldn't wait any longer. We wanted to do this a year ago. We're waiting on the rate study, but it was almost ready, but then we lost our meters. It's like, if one thing could happen, it did. Everything just piled on. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. I see that we have a question from Derek in public input. Derek, can we unmute Derek? And
Yes,
could you
sir.
give us your address, Derek?
Hi, this is Derek Acton, 1847 Somerset Avenue. Thank you for letting me speak. I just wanted to chime in real quickly because of where I'm located in town. I actually have Dayton water. I have Somerset water. A bill in front of me right now. I just figured I would share it so people would understand that. I'm listening to the conversation, and I'm understanding that if you don't really pay attention to something for 11 years, things will get out of hand. And so I just want to give you a quick idea of what the Somerset water bill looks like, so you can use that for your own reference point. So per 1,000 gallons, I pay $5.70 per 1,000 gallons. Once I get over 100,000, it's $6.20. And if I did have sewer with them, it would be $89. I've used 14,000 gallons over the last quarter, and my water charge is like within $5 of what my water service charge and infrastructure fee are. The water service charge is $36, and the infrastructure fee is $36.48. So for my bill for a quarter using 14,000 is $152.28. I don't know if that adds any value to the conversation, but since I'm an outsider and had other information I could offer, I figured I'd throw that out there because it sounds like in Dayton here at one point, maybe sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do the right thing when you've realized you lost your path for a little bit. So thank you for letting me speak, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Derek. Is there anybody else in public input regarding anything to do with the water commissioners or the water district? Dr. Z, do you have any other questions or any comments?
No, but may I reiterate an observation that I made that the water district commissioners, I believe it was Mr. Quinn, had touched upon when he spoke. I have had residents reach out to me about what their water district part of their tax bill. And I just wanted to reiterate that, and I'm only reiterating this because you had said this, that they're also elected officials. You have public meetings. None of the business is done behind closed doors. It's just like a Board of Selectmen's meeting. So please feel empowered and feel free to send your questions and inquiries directly to them. I know you guys work hard. I know you will get back to the residents as soon as you possibly can, just like we do. So I just wanted to make that observation and reiterate that.
Thank you. So since there isn't any other questions for the commissioner or the water commissioners or the superintendent, I think I want to thank you for your input. I think you've answered the questions that the public had as well as the Board of Selectmen had. So again, I appreciate your comments and giving us the information. I know I learned a lot just from this conversation. So thank you.
Appreciate it. And like we said, always reach out to us and we'll answer any questions we can.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you, Selectman. Thank you, Mr. Mullen.
Thank you.
Thank
Is there any other public input regarding anything else? Is there anybody else that wishes to speak during public input? If not, Dr. Z, could you read the announcements, please?
Do you mind reading the first one? I'll read all the others.
Sure.
Thank you.
Town election notice. These are the positions that are open. The Board of Assessors for 3 years, the Dayton Rehoboth Regional School Committee members for 3 years, Parks and Recreation for 3 years, Planning Board for 5 years, Public Library Trustee for 3 years, Selectman for 3 years, Sewer Commissioner for 3 years, Town Clerk for 3 years, Town Collector for 3 years, Town Moderator for 1 year, and Town Treasurer for 3 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mullen, do you mind just putting it on that first one? Just going up a little bit. I'll read that part.
Sorry.
Thank you. The annual town election will be held on Saturday, April 9th, 2022 at the Dayton Elementary School from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Nomination papers are available at the town clerk's office on Tuesday, January 4th, 2022 for the following offices that Selectman Pacheco just read. Last day to obtain papers is 5 p.m. on Thursday, February 17th, 2022, and the deadline to return nomination papers to the town clerk's office is 5 p.m. on Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. For your name to be placed on the ballot, it is necessary to obtain at least 33 signatures of registered voters, which is 1% of the total voters who voted for governor in the last state election, according to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 53, Section 6. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Z. I was just reading off the agenda. I didn't see the notice. I didn't look up.
Yep, no worries.
So thank you. Thank you for
Town
that.
Administrator Mullen's Zoom game is on point tonight, so I really appreciate it.
Something has to be.
State contact tracing protocols have been updated by the Department of Public Health, and local officials are now prioritizing contacts with only those who test positive for COVID-19. Individuals who test positive should notify their own close contacts, which is anyone who an individual was within 6 feet of for a combined total of 15 minutes in a 24-hour period. In relationship to that, I know it's not announcements, but I hope, Mr. Chairman, you'll let me announce. There are free COVID-19 tests available at covidtests.gov. Again, that's free. I believe you get you can get up to 4 boxes with 2 per kit. Again, at covidtests.gov. And if we could, please, Mrs. Brady, put that on the future announcements, if that's okay with the chairman.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's 4 boxes. I thought it was 4 tests per household.
You could be right.
So I'm not sure it's 4 boxes, which has 2 tests in it.
You could be right. You either get 4, and if you're lucky, you'll get 8.
Yes.
And do you have any problem with us putting that on the agenda, the announcements, future announcements?
I don't know. Absolutely.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Thank you. Okay, the Dayton Lions Club Food Bank distribution will be held next at 8 a.m. on Saturday, February 19th, 2022 at Town Hall, lower level, 979 Somerset Avenue. The town clerk's office is looking for citizens interested in becoming election workers for elections and town meetings. If you're interested or would like more information, please reach out to the town clerk's office. Our town clerk is Mark Pacheco by calling 508-669-5411 option 2, or you can email Mr. Pacheco directly at mpacheco@townhall.gov. dayton-ma.gov. There will be a special election held on Saturday, March 5th, 2022 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Dayton Elementary School for the proposed Bristol Plymouth Regional Technical School Building project. And I believe we do have information thanks to our executive team. There is information on the election on our town website, correct?
Yes, there is, Dr. Z.
Thank you so much.
And Town Administrator, did we confirm that we're going to have that meeting on the 7th with BP representatives coming?
Yes. Yes, I believe Miss Brady has been in touch with BP, and I believe it has been confirmed for the 7th. Has it, Miss Brady?
It has not been confirmed.
Sorry.
Still waiting for a response, but I will follow up.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Brady.
And just to, now that Town Administrator has this up, please reach out to the school with any general questions. As of right now, their number is 508-823-5151. And you can also reach out to, as I said, our town clerk's office if you have any questions. Please visit our town website or Dayton Town Hall to view the actual election warrant. Thank you, Mr. Administrator.
No problem.
There is a townwide parking ban in effect through April 1st, 2022. No person shall allow their vehicle to be parked on the street so as to obstruct snow removal. It can snow at any time. I know the weather could be nice when you're parking your vehicle at night. It could totally snow unexpectedly, and we need to do snow removal. So please, please, please be mindful of this parking ban as always, and we appreciate your cooperation. A reminder that open burning season is from January 15th through May 1st between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. A $10 permit from Dayton Fire Rescue is required prior to any open burning. And I believe they have launched at DaytonFire.com. Online open burning permits can be purchased there. So please, if you are savvy with websites, you don't have to go down to the station. You can do it online. If you'd like to see our firefighters in person, please feel free to go to the station. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Z. The next agenda item is the Town Administrator's reports and Town Accountant's report.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the first thing I want to do, the first thing I want to do is share our updated financial dashboard. Over the last few weeks, there have been a lot of questions about our fiscal position. And about our taxes. So about our taxes and free cash. So in working with the town accountant last week, we thought it was important to outline where we are. So what our position really is. So included in the information in the dashboard, you can see actually how conservative our budget actually is. Just as an example, with our FY21 certified free cash, of the 1.7 million we had certified, we had about we appropriated 1.3 million. So we did leave an emergency holdback, but we contributed actually $200,000 each. $200,000 each to lower. $200,000 each to increase our stabilization and capital stabilization. We spent of our certified free cash almost $400,000 to fund our police station debt, which actually took almost $400,000 off of what we needed to fund. So to fund in the tax rate. We also funded $90,000 to our OPEB. And we also, as Dr. Z alluded to earlier, one of the things that free cash does is help fund capital. And we were able to fund through the $1.7 million, actually a total of about $425,000 for dedicated one-time capital. So for dedicated for dedicated one-time capital projects. And you can see, like if you go up to if you can see, like when you go up to a budget per capita as well, so over the last 5 fiscal years, our budget per capita has only actually had an increase of 1.92% a year, so which is actually pretty conservative. Then when you go down the line, when you go down the line into the green, like you can see, so you can see our fiscal year 22 excess levy capacity. So FY 22 excess levy capacity is just over $1 million. Oh, you know, like that is just excess levy capacity is just over $1 million. We are unique. So we're unique in the fact that we have one. Oh, you know, like, and that again, that is something we work to maintain. And the fact that our excess levy capacity, is actually in excess of $1 million means we're leaving tax dollars on the table. So we have the ability to raise in FY 22. We have the ability to raise in FY 22 too. So I'm sorry. We have the ability in FY 22 to raise an additional $1 million in taxes, which we didn't. So I think that's really important for people. So for people and our residents to understand. So we take that really seriously. So then as I mentioned, when we go down, of the $400,000 we funded to our, of the $400,000 we funded to stabilization and capital stabilization. So that brought our stabilization fund balance to 1.65 million, which is almost 10% of our budget. We have a ways to go there. And that has been a goal of the town for some time. And it brings our capital stabilization budget to $938,000 as well. So we have this, we have it up on our website. It's actually the end of last week. So the end of last week, we shared it on social media as well, but we just actually thought this information would be helpful to get out. So helpful to get out and around the community. So I just wanted to give that update.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I know it's been helpful to me, and I'm sure it's helpful to a lot of residents in town. So it's I want to thank you for doing this. It really is beneficial for us, the residents. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just wanted to thank our town accountant and our town administrator for really taking the initiative to really take a lot of complicated facts and numbers and really summarize it in a nice, neat way that's easy to understand. And again, it was helpful for me as well. So I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. So I really just wanted to thank them. I think this is an example of people going above and beyond to try to make it as easy as possible for people to understand. And by doing so, we hope when people can understand that our town is being managed financially sound, maybe they want to then get involved, come to a town meeting. So I really just wanted to thank you both.
That's nice.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle.
So then going forward to the FY 23 revenue analysis. So like we do have an update. So we do have an update that we wanted to provide to the board and to the town as well. So like I believe like in mid-November we last met as a financial team and provided the following update to the Board of Selectmen. So like at that point we just wrapped up the first quarter of the fiscal year. So we provided the following update, but in the update, we highlighted that we were closely monitoring building permit and license revenues. Through the end of October, from that through the end of October, from that point this fiscal year to that point in in fiscal year 21, we had already seen a $21,000 difference in revenues. So in November we understood that beard watching. And understanding all the trends, as we mentioned, we were meeting target. So in the first part of November, we saw that we were meeting target, but we weren't really exceeding target. So as we planned out and as we started to plan out how we were going to budget and how we are going to budget for fiscal year 23, we knew we were going to be really conservative. So when we knew that we were going to have to keep a close eye on revenues. So that's really where we are right now. So obviously we're in January 2022. And at the end of last month, we sent out the budget worksheets to our departments, boards, and committees. And they have to the end of the month to send us their proposed budgets back. So they have until the end of the month to send us their proposed budget back to begin the process. Over the last few weeks, we've been looking more deeply at revenues as well. So we've been looking at revenue. We've been looking at revenues because our revenue really informs. So our revenue informs our ability to fund. And if we have an issue with revenues, we're going to have more challenges. We're going to have more challenges in terms of funding. So we've been taking a good hard look at that. And I want to ask our town accountant to give an update where we are at this point.
Thank you, Mike. As Mike had said, we've been taking a really close look at our revenues and what we've collected to date. In November, we determined that we'd collected about $21,000 less at the same point as the prior fiscal year in licenses and permits. And this was after, I believe, Mike and the prior town accountant, when doing the budget process last year, they had to reset the projected revenues that they had for licenses and permits just based on the trends that they had established and what they had actually collected at this point. So as we look into 2022, well, the 2022 revenue, if you look at this spreadsheet, we've estimated.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So we've estimated that we're going to collect about $308,000 in license and permits revenues, but to date, we've only collected about 37% of that. So we just want to kind of be on the conservative side, and we may have to adjust going forward our estimated receipts. We might have to decrease that a little bit to be more in line with what we're actually going to receive. So we just want to make sure that we continuously watch out, and over the next month or so, especially into February, as we get all the budgets in and get our expenditures in order, we want to make sure, that we're on trend and we're expecting the revenues that we projected. Okay. And another revenue source that we've been taking a close look at is the ambulance revolving fund. The current use will be unsustainable in the future if we continue to pull out of it the way that we have been in the past. The FY22 budget relies on approximately $650,000 from the fund, but the annualized revenues for FY23 are projected at $420,000. Through fiscal year 22, we will be fine because we have prior revenues to sustain what we've taken out in the past. But if we continue to pull out the way we have without collecting revenues, then we'll be depleting that fund completely. As of today, we have collected about $259,000 in ambulance revenues. So that's where we are with that. So we just want to make sure that we keep an eye on that as well. And then when the motor vehicle excise tax commitment comes out, that'll give us a good idea as to what we're going to be able to collect from that receipt in FY23. So we'll continue to meet to make sure that we stay on top of this and hopefully nothing pops up at us. As Mike said before, we're going to be very conservative going forward into the FY23 budget planning. And hopefully by mid-February, we'll have a better understanding or a better idea of what our projected revenues will be.
Well, thank you, Mike, for giving us this update, and Ms. Vining for keeping on top of this. Both of you for keeping on top of this. I think it's important to have this information before us. It doesn't sound too good, but thanks for making us aware of this. So I appreciate that.
So yeah, like it is really still like we're still at the beginning, but we really wanted to really provide an update on where we are and what we really could be looking at. And as we move forward, I think we have the ability to deal with it. However, I just want to give an update where we are, and Janelle wanted to as well.
Well, thank both of you. Dr. Z, you have a question?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Administrator, do you mind going back to the slide about the ambulance fund for a moment?
Yes. Here we go. There we go.
Thank you. I guess my question is, can you elaborate on this slide a little bit? Is it, I guess, is the point of this slide to say that we need to keep an eye on this because what we're bringing in isn't covering what's coming out? I guess I just need a little bit of clarity on this slide specifically, if either of you don't mind, whoever.
No, that's fine. Over time, I think that, and again, I don't know how long this, like you've been with taking out of the ambulance fund. I don't know how long that's been going on, but like in certain years, the revenues may cover what's been taken out of the ambulance fund. In certain years, you may take in less than what you're withdrawing, but your prior year revenues, like your retained revenues, are making up for that difference. But I think this past year, especially, taking out $650,000 is a pretty substantial amount.
Yeah.
When I think, actually, let me double check. In FY21, the revenues were just under 540. So just in that, just in that, that's $110,000 right there that you're going into a deficit.
I mean, so this is just my personal opinion. I doubt that Selectman Pacheco agrees with me, but I do think, and I know that this has been done traditionally over the years. It's not anything that we here started. But I almost think that if we could really try to not use the ambulance fund for the general budget as much as we can, wherever we can, I will be fully in support of that. I think that we should keep it as much as we can, whenever we can, right? Crazy circumstances not permitted, we should try to keep that money to help out the fire department for they have their own needs as well. So I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to thank you for highlighting this. I think it's really important to hear, and especially for the public to hear as well, that we need to be mindful of this going forward.
Dr. Z, did you say that you think that I would not agree with you?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't assume, that's all.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you said.
Like, I mean, we are fiscally mindful. We are not, in my opinion, we're not a rich town, but we're also not, scraping by either. We're in a pretty good spot. So I think that we should be mindful of the ambulance revolving fund and try to use it for what it's intended, which is ambulance and Dayton fire rescue. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
So thank you, members of the board, and thank you, Accountant.
Thank you.
So moving on to my last item, I just wanted to share an email that we received last week from the state auditor's office. They reached out to us last Wednesday. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, 2 weeks ago Wednesday. I can't keep track of days and weeks. But they reached out to us 2 weeks ago Wednesday And they actually informed us about a project that they were working on, so they informed us about a project they were working on about special districts. So like, and as you know, we have three. We have the North Dayton Fire Water District. We have the Dayton Water. Then we have the Dayton Water District, and then we also have the Dayton Electric District as well. So like, they asked if we would find the time. They asked if we would find the. They asked if we would find the time to speak with them.
Mhm.
So like, and we did. So like, we actually met with them early this afternoon. And I met with them with the. So when I met with them with I met with them with the treasurer collector, with the former assessor, and with the town clerk as well. So like, and we didn't really have any idea where the auditor's office wanted to go with this. And we left the conversation really, having that same question, to be honest with you. They asked how we interact with the districts. They asked how we interact with the districts, how we partner with them on different things. They also asked how the tax and assessment information from the districts goes through town hall. So we had a conversation with them about that. We had a conversation with them also what we knew, how the districts were able to fund capital, which we heard about from the Dayton Water District earlier this evening. But I don't have any idea what the auditor's office is really looking at, but I really just wanted to provide an update that, the auditor's office, so that the state auditor's office reached out. We had a conversation with them. As we go forward, we'll keep you and everyone in the loop.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There is no old business. Selectmen's report, Dr. Z, you want to give us an update on the community impact fee meeting that we attended, that you and I in Selectman Hull attended, and Mike Mullen?
Yes, absolutely. We had a great joint meeting with some key stakeholders from planning and other relevant boards and committees, but also other relevant department heads and key stakeholders like Jim Aguiar, our building commissioner. And it seemed like, and again, I'm just going to really gloss over and summarize the meeting. It seemed like the consensus between the different choices, since we all are aware that we have infrastructure needs that are coming out. We can only tax people so much, and we shouldn't do that. Obviously, that's been our position. So we need to find and be resourceful and find other revenue sources. And so one idea was community impact fees. And that's why we all gathered to discuss the whether it's practical, some of the logistics of it, and also kind of recap a different meeting that the town administrator and I and the building commissioner had with an attorney from Mead, Tellerman and Costa regarding this topic. And basically, again, kind of summarizing the consensus, it seemed like at the meeting was that we do want to continue pursuing or researching the feasibility of the community impact fees. It seems like everyone was interested in that route as opposed to or in contrast with inclusionary zoning, which was one of the other options. But it seems like everybody had an appetite more so for the community impact fees. I also support that direction because I feel like even if community impact fees weren't to curb or have any impact on residential growth in town, it would still go a little ways towards helping us to address our infrastructure needs. But there were some takeaways and some homework that needed to be done after the meeting. So just to summarize, Mr. Clunan, the Water District Superintendent, is going to send us Water District bylaws, some examples of different regulations that they have, but also what their fee structure is. They have a similar thing for new construction with the water district. When someone wants to tie into the water district, and even though there's a moratorium right now, so that can't happen, but they still have that stuff on paper. It's a resource and they will be forwarding it to us. Mr. Aguirre, our building commissioner, will be connecting with the Woburn building commissioner. I cannot say that word, I'm sorry. And speaking to him about community impact fees and fact gathering and bringing that information back to the broader team. Mr. Mullen, our fearless town administrator, will be reviewing regulations from other municipalities. And he will be bringing those examples, good or bad or ugly, back to our team for analysis. And our former fearless selectman, Nancy Goulart, will be connecting as a Board of Assessor in her capacity with the assessor. She'll be connecting with the Department of Revenue on this topic of community impact fees, sort of to gauge interest and opinion, but also to fact gather, as she and the assessors have to work pretty much hand in glove with DOR on various matters. So thank you.
Thank you for that report on that meeting. Selectman Hull, as I noted earlier, is at another meeting and he could not attend, but he did send in this email. Good evening. This evening, I will be attending the second set of interviews for the selection of the Dayton Rehoboth Regional School District Superintendent. To date, the selection committee has reduced the field of 25 candidates down to 7 semifinalists. We will be interviewing these 7 candidates this week and on January 24th. The selection committee will forward either 3 or 4 candidates to the school committee for their final round of interviews. The school committee's goal is to name a new superintendent-elect on March 1st. The new superintendent will officially start on July 1st with the retirement of Dr. Azar. There is an outstanding group of candidates interviewing in the semifinal round, including several current superintendents. And he asked that I read that. So he had originally planned to be at this meeting and give us an update on that process that he's been involved in. I just want to comment on a couple of meetings that I've attended. On January 13th, last week, I attended the Pandemic Reopen Task Force. And basically, so my colleagues on the board will know that the Pandemic Reopen Task Force will probably be dissolving. This was formed by the Emergency Committee, and they had, I believe, 7 members added to this committee. You know, they formed this as because of the pandemic, when we had thoughts of reopening, and they gave us some guidance on this. Well, we are reopened. So they will probably at the next emergency, when they have the emergency committee meets, they will probably disband this. However, we've given our town administrator permission, if there is a need for an emergency, that these 7 members be contacted and we get together and discuss whatever the situation is. And right now, I'm as the chairman of the board, I'm representing the board. I don't have a voter or anything like that. And the next chairperson will also have that opportunity if need be, if we need to call them for that.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment about that if you don't mind?
Yes.
So I totally agree with everything that you just said, and don't really have a strong opinion other than to say I really wanted to thank the Pandemic Reopening Task Force for their work. I think their work and the success of their work, I want to be very clear, speaks for itself. We have reopened our town hall, one of the earliest reopenings. They made a bunch of modifications to the buildings. That was all done through the Pandemic Task Force, through Mr. Aguirre, but all in consultation with that group. We never had to reshut again. We've literally been reopened since that time that we reopened originally. And I think that's a testament to their diligence, to their hard work. I also want to remind folks that we purposely didn't have selectmen on that committee. We really wanted the decision-making to be made by people knowledgeable on these topics and make apolitical decisions on those things. So I really just wanted to highlight that and to really commend them. I think their work was fantastic. So whether they dissolve or not, and this goes to the Board of Health to deal with in the future, certain issues that may creep up, I just really wanted to thank them for everything that they did. And I think that they served the town well. And I will also agree with those comments.
The second meeting that I attended was last night, the Capital Outlay Committee. We met with 5 different department heads, so we had invited with the library, the Board of Health, the assessors, Parks and Recreation, and IT. We went over their budgets and we listened to the recommendations. We're going to meet again on February 1st and again on February 15th with different department heads and have some more clarification on what their goals are, what their plans are. So I thought it was very helpful at the meeting last night. I'm glad that the Capital Outlay Committee has been reactivated. I want to thank our town administrator for his involvement in this, and he's very helpful for all of us. And it was a nice meeting to attend. The other thing I want to just say is that our next meeting will be January 26, 2022, and I highly suspect it's going to be a Zoom meeting also. I had decided last week to have that meeting be Zoom because of our high numbers of COVID cases. And the figures that I was given last Monday was 113 new cases, which is the highest it's ever been in town of COVID cases. But that has been updated to 140. So we did have a lot of cases. This past Monday, we have 79 new cases. And I anticipate that being updated and those figures to be a little bit higher. So my plan is to have a Zoom meeting next week. But hopefully, given what I've read, information that I've seen, it looks like by the end of January, Massachusetts anyway will have peaked with the Omicron variant. And the numbers would start to go down. I think they're already going down now. Hospitalizations will tend to increase in the meantime, because if your numbers are going up, even though they start going down, those people that have been infected the week before, they could be hospitalized. So those numbers are going to go up. But I'm hoping by February, Board of Selectmen's meeting that we're going to be able to meet in person. So it's not an easy decision to make regarding doing a Zoom meeting. I prefer, as my colleagues on the board have also mentioned, that they would prefer to meet in person. Nobody, as far as I know, nobody likes Zoom meetings. I don't like Zoom meetings, but I felt it was necessary to do that. So that is it on my report.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question related to your report?
Yes.
Just to go back to the Capital Outlay Committee, I just wanted to let everybody know, you, the town administrator, I did reach out to a couple of the Dayton School Committee members to gauge interest. That Capital Outlay Committee, per the bylaw, does have to have a representative from the school committee. I have not heard back, so I don't know how that affects how the Capital Outlay Committee plans to move, but I did just want to update you on that. I also wanted to clarify, I know we received some correspondence into the office. I'm only bringing this up because in one of the letters that I read, my name was mentioned, and I felt like my position on this Zoom only meeting was mischaracterized. So I just wanted to reiterate for the public that yes, we all would prefer, and I certainly would prefer to have an in-person meeting, but I 100%, especially given the rising COVID cases in town, I 100% the chair's decision, Selectman Pacheco's decision to have Zoom only meetings. So I just wanted to clarify that for the public as well. Thank you.
Thank you. New business. We received a letter from the Board of Health. Dear Board of Selectmen, the Board of Health met on January 5th, 2022 to conduct interviews for the vacant Board of Health member position. The board received 3 applications. 2 interviews were conducted, each lasting approximately 30 minutes. The board is pleased to recommend Barbara Cadabia as the successful applicant for the vacant position of the Board of Health member. I also, I participated in this meeting, not participated, but I observed this meeting on Zoom. And I thought she did an excellent interview, and we should be very happy that she's decided to volunteer for this position. And if you want, I can read the letter that she sent.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Dear Board of Selectmen, I am contacting you concerning the opening on the Board of Health for a new member. I am very interested in this position since I have worked closely with many Board of Health members in various surrounding towns in Mass and also Rhode Island. I feel I could be of value to this board in that I have had over 50 years of experience in different aspects of building excavation, agriculture, and food services in and around Dayton. I am very familiar with permitting and design of septic systems, water systems, and building procedures. I have worked with the majority of personnel in the town of Dayton. I feel I have a good rapport with most of these individuals. I have enclosed resume and applications for your evaluation. Thank you for your time concerning this matter. She has a lot of experience in Title V, as she noted, in food service. She used to have a food truck. She has been in agriculture for years and years and years. And I think she really is a good person to have on the Board of Health. So I will entertain a motion to appoint her to the Board of Health.
Mr. Chairman, I'm excited to motion that we appoint Mrs. Barbara Catavia to the Dayton Board of Health. To fill the expired term of Mr. Tanis.
To fill the vacant position. Yes, I
Correct.
will step down and second that motion. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I just wanted to say I had the honor and privilege of serving with Mrs. Catavia on the Agricultural Commission. I have learned so much from her. I think that she will bring I know she will bring a wealth of expertise, and not just in one field. As you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, she has so much knowledge in a wide variety of different fields and capacities. One of the things that I'm most excited about, Mr. Chairman, is that the Agricultural Commission is working on different, like a agricultural manual that will kind of help the animal control officer with different animal related issues that pop up, as we all have heard about throughout the years, but also different agricultural issues. And I think Mrs. Catavia, especially given her agricultural expertise and prowess, will have a lot of insight into that document and be able to provide a lot of feedback to the Agricultural Commission. So I'm proud to, I will be voting yes to appoint her.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z?
Aye.
Ken Pacheco is also an aye, so she's appointed to the Board of Health.
Congratulations, Mrs. Catavia.
Thank you. The next agenda item under new business is to review, discuss, and act on proposed acceptance of Highway Department salt bid.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So every year, thanks to the work of Highway Superintendent Ferry, like the board, our board has always voted to join the joint bid that has been offered for salt, like with the town of Medfield. So like we just wanted to bring that back to the Board of Selectmen this year for your vote, to join the town of Medfield salt bid once again.
Thank you. Are there any questions? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
Bear with me just a moment. Okay, just making sure I had the right thing up so
Sure.
I make the motion correctly. Yep. My apologies. Mr. Chairman, I motion that we award the joint purchase salt bid for 2021 through 2022 to the town of Medfield as outlined in our packet this evening.
So just for clarification, this is for the.
So you would award them based on the town of Medfield bid. Unfortunately, the town of Medfield does not procure.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
So they don't offer salt.
Correct. So I assume it's.
Alex, so it would be to.
Eastern.
It would be for the salt based on the successful bid as outlined in the town of Medfield's bid result.
Perfect. That.
Okay, and just for clarification, rock salt is from the Eastern Minerals Inc., $65 per ton delivered. Solar salt from Eastern Minerals Inc., $65 per ton. And treated salt from Eastern Minerals Inc., $83 per ton delivered. I'll step down and second that motion. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Ken Pacheco is also an aye. The next agenda items, review, discuss, and act on the highway superintendent's request to deficit spend for snow and ice. We received a letter from Superintendent Tom Ferry. I believe he's on this meeting. regarding overspending, number 423, snow and ice account. Please consider overspending our snow and ice account for the winter of 2021-2022. We received a memorandum from Town Administrator dated January 18th. I write to recommend the approval of the attached request for the Highway Superintendent Tom Ferry to deficit spend in the snow and ice budget number 423 in accordance with section 31D of chapter 44 of the Massachusetts General Laws. As you know, budgeting and spending for snow and ice removal is an effort filled with great variability and uncertainty from fiscal year to fiscal year, based completely on factors all outside of our control. Like most communities, Dayton has long utilized the provision of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 31D, as outlined in the attached budget document and state tax rate recap documentation going back to at least fiscal year 2017. This practice is widely accepted practice and has always been carried out in accordance with state municipal finance statutes. With the purchase of road salt, winter storm materials, and Highway Department storm responses to date, Highway Superintendent Ferry has projected that we are very close to having already expended the funding approval in the snow and ice budget. I believe we may be having snow tonight. With another forecasted weather event anticipated for that wasn't in the letter. With another forecasted weather event anticipated for this weekend and at least 2 more months of potential winter weather, I strongly recommend approval of this request for the continuity of Highway Department storm response efforts. And Town Administrator has provided us with the law regarding that. Just to give an idea, in fiscal 2018, we paid $168,000 plus in monies. In 2017, we spent $79,669 and change. And we've spent in 2019, $186,000 and change. And in 2020, $92,000. That was a good year. And we've already, we're very close to spending our $50,000. So that the public knows, we always budget $50,000. We know that it's going to be higher than that, but we don't know how much it's going to be. So we kind of wait to see how the winter is going to go. So that's why we're going to, Mr. Ferry is asking for additional monies. I'm not sure if Mr. Ferry wishes to speak regarding this before I entertain a motion. Mr. Ferry, is he available? He did say he may fall asleep, and if he's not available, we need to text him. So
it's not that late, Mr. Chairman.
Is he still on?
He is, yes.
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening.
Tom.
Yes, we entertain this annually, sometimes earlier in the winter months, and the 50,000 that's budgeted is worked with the Finance Committee. That seems to be a good number to help set the tax levy that we vote on annually, and then the actual expenses is considered towards the end of the fiscal year.
So thank you. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve the Highway Department Superintendent to overspend the snow and ice account for the 2021-2022 fiscal year.
I will step down. Ken Pacheco will step down and second that motion. Any discussion?
Yes, under discussion, I just wanted to say, we never know and can never predict. Obviously, none of us are meteorologists. And even then, as you know, predictions can be really wrong. We never know how bad the winter season is going to be. We could potentially get a winter season like 2015 when we had 10 feet of snow. This, for me, is a public safety issue. The roads need to be clear. Our highway department does an amazing job. It's actually really a point of pride for our residents how amazing our roads are done. You don't need to see town lines. We just know when the road gets bad, you're probably out of Dayton. So I don't think this is controversial. It's a no-brainer. And again, it's a public safety issue. So I'm proud to support this like I have for the last 6 years.
Yeah, and if you talk to residents, and I'm sure you do, Dr. Z, they all compliment Tom Ferry and his department for the great job they do on the highways and the roads in Dayton. And you've made a great point that you can leave Dayton. I won't mention the towns, but you can have an idea. You leave our town and then there's snow on the road. So I've always been very impressed with the work that the highway department and Mr. Ferry, as superintendent, has done for the town. I'll call for a vote.
Aye.
Dr. Z is an aye and Ken Pacheco is an aye, so it passes. So
one thing, Mr. Chairman, I just want to let you Oh, so I just want to give you a heads up. So you a heads up and the public know as well. So hopefully sometime soon, hopefully sometime soon, Mr. Ferry hopefully he'll be able to add a bucket truck to his arsenal. The bucket truck is finally posted. It's out to bid. It's on the Combi's website as well. It's been a labor of love, and I know, like I've heard from residents, he's encouraged to advocate to my office, and so I just wanted to give an update on that. We are moving forward on that, and we're all excited about that. Like I did a few months ago, I did drop a replica. I dropped off a replica of what the highway superintendent would be able to expect in a future truck. So he does have that on his shelf in the office, but I do expect the real thing will be better and more helpful. So I just wanted to give that update, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, is it a Tonka truck?
Smaller, actually.
Okay. Well, I'm sure some of you, not you, Dr. Z and Mr. Mullen, remember the blizzard of 78. So there was a lot of snow then. I remember it clearly, but a lot of you may have seen pictures of it, maybe. So that's good. The next agenda item on the new business is review, discuss, and act on wage class. Thank you, Mr. Ferry.
Thank you, Mr.
Wage
Ferry.
classification study contract, HR Key Solutions. So we had agreed when we did the negotiations with the clerical union that they had requested, and we had agreed that we would do a wage study. So it's my understanding that we may have an agreement.
Yes.
With a company.
So yeah, like over the last few months, we procured a contractor. So actually, like HR Key Solutions out of Rentham. So like, and we've actually been working and talking. So actually working and talking with the vendor with the working and talking with the vendor with the clerical union as well. So like we wanted to do this in partnership and together. So we're ready to kick off the process. The process will it will start very soon. It will really it will really take form in March. Really when a lot of the work will be done. And then we'll have the whole study done. And expect the entire project to be completed at the end of May. So the vendor has plans to be here at the end of March, a meeting. So at the end of March, a meeting with employees. And actually in advance of that, she's going to send out questionnaires. Actually for our employees as well. So we're excited. We're working with the union on this. And very excited to finally bring this to fruition.
Thank you. Dr. Z, do you have any questions regarding this before I ask for a motion?
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to thank the town administrator. I know they juggle, he juggles a lot on a daily basis, I'm sure. And to make this one of his priorities to get done, I think was really important to the union, but also important to the town as well, as it was a promise. So I just wanted to thank him, and I'm happy to support this tonight.
Thank you for those comments.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve the contract for services as prepared this evening with HR Key Solutions of 40 Black Birch Circle, Rentham, Mass.
I'll step down and second that motion. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. So you can execute that contract, Town Administrator.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate it. This is exciting, so thank you.
It is.
Good work.
The next agenda item is to review, discuss, and act on the amendment to the host community agreement with Pure Oasis LLC. Dr. Z, I hope you had an opportunity to take a look at this. There are basically only changes in the name. It's going to be from Pure Oasis LLC to Pure Oasis Grow LLC. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, just like One Connection did, and changing their name with an amendment. Geez, I think it was in the month of September, but I could be wrong. I get all these months actually all jumbled up too. But yeah, like they're following the same path. So in terms of having a First Amendment to the HCA for the name change, and then at the end of June, like when the Board of Selectmen approved the HCA with Marigrow, like we realized after we went through the process, after we went through the HCA process with Pure Oasis, that we had a typo, in the HCA. So like we fixed, and that typo would be fixed in item 4. So like we fixed that when we went into the conversation so we fixed that when we went into the discussion, and that was approved with Marigrow. So now that we have the opportunity to amend with Pure Oasis, we're making the language in item 4 consistent across the board as well.
I do have a question about the changes on item number 4.
Yes.
It's the last paragraph of section 10 of the HCA shall be removed and replaced as follow. So the way it stands right now, it says, in the event that the establishment requires any police or fire details for any reason, the company shall pay for such details in the ordinary course of its business, and the costs associated with police details shall be incurred by the company separate from and in addition to community impact payments under agreement. That's what it says right now. But what they're asking for is in the event that the establishment requires any police or fire details for any reason, the company shall pay for such details in the ordinary course of its business, and the costs associated with police details shall be applied towards the annual community impact fee in the same manner as outlined in section, could be 3 of paragraph 4.
Yes.
So do you?
So what the initial language, what the initial language did was obviously apply the payment outside of the community impact fee. So like based on the statute and the evolving court cases about community impact fees, the courts, the legislature, and the CCC, the Cannabis Control Commission, have the courts, the CCC and the legislature have been very clear that all these expenses need to be within inside that fee, inside that fee, not outside of it.
Yeah, that was my concern, but I suspected there was a legitimate answer as to why they made that change. So I understand. Okay. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the amendment to the host community agreement with Pure Oasis Grow LLC as prepared this evening.
I'll step down and second that motion. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. The next agenda item is review, discuss, and act on the agreement of consent election, Town of Dayton, and Massachusetts Coalition of Police.
I can give a quick rundown on this if you like, Mr. Chairman.
If you want, I can read the letter. It's up to you how you want to handle this.
Sure. If you want to read the letter, then I can answer any questions.
Sure. Thank you. The letter is dated December 26, 2021. Dear Town Administrator Mullen, I hope this letter finds you well. Thank you for your previous conversations on this matter. I am the Secretary Treasurer and point person representing the Massachusetts Coalition of Police, MassCop, and its affiliated locals. I am writing to you on behalf of MassCop and the Dayton Public Safety Dispatchers who have voted by majority to be represented by MassCop. MassCop will be happy to welcome the Dayton Public Safety Dispatchers at a new MassCop local. The DLR, Department of Labor Relations, allows public sector employers to voluntarily recognize an exclusive bargaining agent through a process outlined in 456 CMR 14.065, Section 5. The purpose of this letter is to request that the town of Dayton is voluntarily recognizing the Dayton Public Safety Dispatchers Mass Cop as the exclusive bargaining representative for the following town of Dayton positions: all full-time dispatchers and dispatch supervisors. Under the voluntary recognition process regulated by the DLR, the town can formally grant recognition by posting a notice for 20 days that intends to grant exclusive recognition without an election to the specific bargaining unit. Very truly yours, Bobby Murphy from Mass Cops. Yes. So, who's responsible for posting that then? I mean, I assume we're going to agree to voluntarily accept this, but who do we post?
Yeah, like the town will post that, and we'll work with the union to do that.
Dr. Z, do you have any questions?
My only question, I have no issue with this. I think that this particular union, or the former union, the dispatchers union, has been waiting for, in their opinion, adequate representation. So I'm happy to see this and don't have an issue with it. My only question for our town administrator is, isn't there some kind of mass cop affiliate that also represents, it may not be the same one, but also the police union, or is that different?
No, this is actually, so this is the same umbrella union organization.
Okay. All right, that's my only question.
Yeah, the exact same one. We've worked with them before. Like we have like a very good working relationship with them. Like, and even in this process, like I've been working with Mr. Murphy, and it's been a really, it's been a really good process, very constructive.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion.
I'm proud to make this motion, Mr. Chairman, to support the union. Mr. Chairman, I motion that we voluntarily recognize, bear with me a moment, the Massachusetts Coalition of Police Mass Cop as the exclusive bargaining representative for a bargaining unit consisting of all Dayton full-time public safety dispatchers and dispatcher supervisor, excluding all other employees of the town of Dayton, as presented this evening.
Campuchico will step down and second that motion. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye.
Thank you.
There are no acknowledgements. We have a correspondence. This is addressed to Mark Pacheco, Town Clerk. Dear Mr. Pacheco, this letter is to formally give notice that I am resigning from my appointed position on the Dayton Historical Commission. My resignation is effective immediately. I have gained a lot of knowledge and experience by being part of this town, part of this team, and appreciate the opportunity to serve in the town of Dayton. I have been assigned additional duties within my full-time job and unfortunately can no longer devote the time and attention to this volunteer position. I hope to serve again in the future, and I will always remember the support that was given to me. I will return the commission shirt as well as the photos of the James Briggs house. Kindly acknowledge this letter, and if you have any questions, I can be reached at whatever the number is. This is from Gail Salvi. Having been the liaison person for the Historical Commission, she's been very helpful to the commission. We're going to sadly miss her from the commission. I understand why she's leaving, and this happens to a lot of people. They got families, they got jobs, and this happens, but we appreciate the time that she's dedicated to the town of Dayton and specifically the Historic Commission. So I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we accept the resignation of Gail Salvi with sincere thanks and appreciation for her service.
I will step down and second that motion. I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Kim Pacheco is an aye. We're going to miss her.
Yep.
The next agenda item is minutes. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes, the Board of Selectmen's regular meeting minutes of December 22nd, 2021, December 29th, 2021, January 5th, 2022, and January 12th, 2022.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll step down and second that motion. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Kim Pacheco is an aye. I'm going to ask agenda item number 14, approval of the warrants.
Yes, bear with me just a moment. I'm going to bring that information up. Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve the warrants for January 12th, 2022 as follows: 28A-22 in the amount of $114,731.18. 28B-22 in the amount of $66,969.19, and 28C-22 in the amount of $3,485.53.
I will step down and second that motion. I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z
Aye.
and Campuchico is an aye.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve the following warrants for January 19th, 2022. 29A-22 in the amount of $99,117.24, and 29B-22 in the amount of $324,952.44.
I will step down and second that motion. I'll call for a vote. Dr. Z
Aye.
and Campuchico is also an aye. Is there any public input? Anybody wish to speak? If not, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to step down and second that motion. I'll call for a vote.
Aye.
Dr. Z and Campuchico is an aye. Thank everybody. And like I said, our next meeting will also be Zoom, and it's going to be on January 26th, 1 week from tonight. Everybody have a good night and have a safe weekend.
Have a good night, everyone.